It's 6 p.m. on a Thursday here in Korea. Welcome to our newscast. I'm Daniel Che. Let us begin with the headlines. The new leaders of the ruling Saenuri Party sat down with the president for the first time since their election earlier this week. Amid the ongoing heat wave, reform for the nation's electricity billing system was high on the agenda. America's Missile Defense Agency director is in South Korea to explain the technical and safety aspects of the THAAD missile defense system, which the U.S. plans to test next year with missiles similar to the ones used by North Korea. South Korea gets gold and an Olympic record in the men's 50-meter pistol event, as well as a football victory over defending champ Mexico on the day 5 of the Rio Games. But the spotlight shone brightest on American cyclist Kristen Armstrong, who made a golden comeback on the eve of her 43rd birthday. The new leaders of the ruling Saenuri Party sat down with the president to discuss current issues and enhancing cooperation on the president's policy initiatives. Three-way talks to reform the nation's electricity billing system amid the heat wave gripping the country is also in the pipelines. Song Ji-sun has our top story.
President Park Geun-hye sat down with the recently elected leaders of the ruling Saenuri Party at the presidential office on Thursday. With a deadly heat wave continuing to hold Korea in its grip, reforming the nation's decades-old electricity billing system took center stage. The Saenuri Party's new leader Lee Jung-hyun suggested three-way talks on reforming the system that he said puts an unnecessarily heavy financial burden on citizens. Under the current system, which was designed to lower energy consumption, a 4-person household that keeps the air conditioning on for 8 hours a day will see their electricity bill soar up to nearly $300 a month. President Park promised to announce a follow-up measure on the issue.
근데 올해 이제 특히 그 이상 고온으로 너무 이제 많은 국민들이 힘들어 하시기 때문에 정부에서 쭉 그 어떻게 이거를 좀 좋은 방안이 없을까 검토를 해왔고 또 지금도 하고 있는 중인데 이 당과 잘 협의를 해서 조만간에 그 방안을 국민에게 발표할 수 있도록 그렇게 하겠습니다.
The president also asked for cooperation from the political realm on passing urgent bills directly related to people's day-to-day lives, with a former aide and now the ruling party leader answering her call.
As you mentioned, we are aware of the urgency of outstanding issues at the National Assembly, like the fiscal stimulus plan and multiple bills aimed at revitalizing the economy.
The new ruling party leaders vowed to follow the president's request to work with the political realm, the government and the presidential office for the public, and to help the Park administration's policies bear fruit. Song Ji-sun, Arirang News.
The ruling party's new chairman continues to meet with other parliamentary leaders, including the Assembly Speaker and the head of the minor opposition People's Party. Meanwhile, 6 first-term lawmakers from the main opposition Minjoo Party of Korea gave their report on a recent visit to China for talks on THAAD. Park Ji-won provides the updates from the National Assembly.
On the second day at the helm of the ruling Saenuri Party, Chairman Lee Jung-hyun continued to meet with other parliamentary leaders, including National Assembly Speaker Chung Se-kyun and interim leader of the minor opposition People's Party Park Ji-won, seeking for bipartisan cooperation.
The People's Party leader, Park Ji-won, is an intimidating opposition leader, politically speaking. But he always leaves room for compromise when locking horns with other parties. So I know he will do the same for our party too.
We are on very amicable terms. It's as if we complement each other.
The Conservative Party also held its Supreme Council meeting on Thursday morning, urging other parties to reach a parliamentary agreement on an extra budget bill worth some $10 billion by August 19th in order for respective ministries to execute the fiscal program by the end of the month. Regarding the supplement, the National Assembly Speaker and the floor leaders of the 3 main political parties will meet on Friday to discuss the government's budget proposal. Meanwhile, on the other side of the political aisle, 6 first-term lawmakers from the main opposition Minjoo Party of Korea, who recently made a controversial visit to China regarding the THAAD deployment to Korea, briefed their party colleagues at a general meeting on such visit. The lawmakers warned of Cold War-like tensions in the region if the South Korean government goes ahead with the decision to station a U.S.-made THAAD missile defense system battery on the peninsula. Quoting the 6 lawmakers, spokesperson Ki Dong-min later said the Chinese government has prepared concrete countermeasures for each step of the deployment and noted that public sentiment in China toward the deployment is very hostile.
The Chinese public has a very bad opinion on THAAD, and bilateral relations between Seoul and Beijing could deteriorate to the point of triggering a new Cold War era.
The lawmakers said the Chinese academic circle suggested that the issue needs to be resolved at the upcoming G20 summit next month in China. However, the Liberal Party hasn't yet confirmed its clear position on the THAAD deployment. Park Ji-won, Arirang News.
Washington's missile defense chief is in Seoul to reassure the Korean public about the safety of the THAAD missile defense system. He said the U.S. plans to prove the system's effectiveness through a test against missiles similar to the ones North Korea uses as well. Kim Hyun-bin has the latest on the efforts to boost confidence on the controversial system.
The United States is planning to conduct a test of its THAAD missile defense system next year, using missiles similar to the kind North Korea uses. Vice Admiral James D. Searing, the director of the U.S. Missile Defense Agency, made the remarks in a briefing on Wednesday in Seoul, where he also outlined THAAD's capabilities. He said that THAAD has been tested 13 times in the last decade and has an interception rate of 100%. The missiles that will be used in the test are intermediate-range ballistic missiles, which are similar to the mid-range Mustam missiles fired by North Korea.
The testing that MDA has done with the THAAD system has progressed from short-range ballistic missiles to medium-range ballistic missiles up to next year, including intermediate-range ballistic missiles. We have tested the range of those threats or threat representative targets over the last decade.
Searing is in Seoul to explain the technical and safety aspects of the THAAD system and to discuss follow-up measures for the planned deployment in 2017. He said that numerous safety tests have been conducted not only in Guam, but also in locations where the THAAD radar is deployed around the world. He sought to reassure reporters that the same procedures will be in place before the system comes to South Korea.
We have population centers close by in several of the radar cases that operate and have been operating for up to a decade safely and without incident. And I'm confident the same process will be followed here to ensure the safety of the system and the safety of the population.
In addition, he sought to ease concerns about the potential health risks posed by the system's radar, saying there is no threat to animals or the environment. Vice Admiral Searing also said the U.S. is currently working on the deployment in close coordination with U.S. versus Korea. Kim Hyun-bin, Arirang News.
A triumphant day for South Korea in Rio with 3 more medals in the pack, including a record setter for shooter Jin Jung-ho. But the most inspirational performance came from an American cyclist who made a golden comeback. Yoon Shin shows us the big moments.
It's now day 5 of Rio 2016, and as the days go by, this year's Olympics only get more exciting. Adding 3 more medals on Wednesday alone, it was an especially great day for South Korea. Claiming victory in the men's 50-meter pistol event to secure the nation's 4th gold, veteran shooter Jin Jung-ho set a new Olympic record with a score of 193.7. The 36-year-old is also the first marksman to ever win 3 straight gold medals in men's or women's shooting. The nation also added 2 bronze medals in men's judo and men's fencing. Taking on Marcus Niemann from Sweden, world number 1 Kwak Dong-han captured bronze in the 90-kilogram class through a swift ippon. Also triumphing in a bronze medal bout was fencer Kim Jong-un in the men's individual saber. On top of the medal collecting, South Korea defeated Mexico 1-0 in their final group stage match in men's football. Scoring the game's only goal in the second half, the nation has secured its passage into the knockout stages. But in the middle of all the festivities, among so many medalists, is a mother who is an inspiration to many. Claiming her third consecutive road time trial gold on a rain-soaked course, 42-year-old American cyclist Kristen Armstrong proved that age is only a number.
I think that for so long we've been told that we should be finished at a certain age, and I think that there's a lot of athletes out there that are actually showing that that's not true. For all the moms out there, I hope that this was a very inspiring day.
After retiring to start a family, and after fairly recent multiple hip surgeries, Armstrong made another comeback last year to yet again prove her golden caliber. Motivating the crowds and encouraging millions, her strong return highlights the true spirit of the Olympics. 이은신, Arirang News.
The Bank of Korea has held its key interest rate steady at 1.25%, a widely expected decision as the Korean economy faces lingering uncertainties both at home and abroad, as well as the impact of the latest government stimulus measures. Hwang Jie takes a closer look.
Korea's central bank took a wait-and-see approach in August as it held its monthly monetary policy meeting on Thursday. It kept its key interest rate unchanged at 1.25%, leaving it at its historic low for the second straight month. The Bank of Korea's decision was in line with market expectations that it will want to see whether the government's stimulus package, coupled with a rate cut in June, will help bolster the economy that's been in the doldrums. The top central banker said he is fully aware of the risks stemming from low key rates.
Financial watchdogs are implementing and reviewing various measures to tackle household debt. The BOK is also closely monitoring the effects of these measures, as we agree it's not desirable for this debt to rise for a prolonged period of time. If needed, the bank will also consider taking measures.
Despite the government's tighter guidelines on loans, they have not been able to slam the brakes on snowballing debt levels. The total amount tops $1 trillion. Concerns are growing that a possible rate hike from the U.S. Federal Reserve could exacerbate the problem, as Korea will eventually face the need to follow suit due to risks of massive capital outflows. But with external uncertainties like Brexit and better-than-expected second-quarter growth mainly boosted by the government efforts to stimulate spending, speculation for another rate cut in the last quarter this year is on the rise.
Without the swift passing of the supplementary budget, I don't think that the recovery will continue. So until the second half of the year, the BOK might see some downside risks, and they will give more dovish comments.
And although being very cautious, the top central banker did leave the door open for additional rate cuts. While the BOK governor said it's true that the country's key interest rate is inching closer towards the so-called lower bound after a series of gradual rate trims over the years, he added that there's still room for more easing down the line. Hwang Jie, Arirang News.
Just about a week before its official launch next Friday, Samsung Electronics unveiled its Galaxy Note 7 in Seoul today. It's already been hailed by some as a phablet innovation, which includes some key features like enhanced water resistance and biometric authentication. Our Kim Minjoo tried it out for herself.
More freedom and greater convenience. That's what Samsung Electronics is promoting in its latest addition to the Galaxy series, the Note 7, which the company unveiled on its home turf at a media event on Thursday. Samsung gave the device the number 7, even though the previous device in the series was the Note 5, in order to line up with the Galaxy S7 smartphone launched earlier in the year. Above all, it says it put great effort into breaking the perception that there is no end to innovation.
Samsung Electronics was the pioneer of the tablet smartphone. The Note 7 is more complete. We hope to open a new era in the global market. We put a great deal of emphasis on using top-notch technology and boosting the software and services.
The phablet, which has a price tag of roughly $890, is similar in appearance to the Galaxy S7 Edge. Samsung has stepped up the features of the S Pen, allowing for underwater use, as well as a function that offers foreign language translation. Also creating a lot of buzz, the Note 7 comes with iris recognition, promising users more security and greater privacy. The feature is the first of its kind in the Galaxy series.
In a split second, users can unlock their smartphones and engage in mobile banking without having to go through the process of difficult verification procedures.
Samsung has started taking pre-orders for the device, and over 200,000 people signed up in the first 2 days. That's about double what it was for the Galaxy S7 released in March.
Samsung's marketing and promotion of the Note 7 have boosted its early popularity. The product is actually very impressive, especially the S Pen and biometric authentication. Sales are expected to surpass those of its predecessor.
While Apple is scheduled to release its new iPhone next month, experts say that unless it has some game-changing features, Samsung can expect to see strong sales, which could help lift the profits of its mobile division in the latter half of the year. 김민지, Arirang News.
It can be difficult to conduct financial transactions through the internet or smartphones here in Korea because users generally have to download a boatload of security programs. To speed things up, Korea's Financial Supervisory Service announced Thursday that it is seeking to cut down the number of security programs users need to download by at least half, possibly by the end of this year. The FSS is also looking into adopting fingerprinting or iris authentication systems. To use internet banking in Korea, users need to download an average of 4 security programs, including antivirus software, keyboard security software, accredited certificates, and a personal firewall. Users sometimes have to download up to 10 security programs. One of the numerous inconveniences this causes include slowing computer speed. And that concludes our newscast for this hour. As always, thank you for staying with us.